Okay, so kung last time we rigged the very simple ball with a functionality of squash and stretch, ngayon i-level up natin ng konti. So we have here an object or an asset which contains multiple multiple parts, right? So ito yung mga techniques na ginamit natin sa sa bouncing ball, pwede pa rin naman natin siyang i-apply dito. Ang kaibahan lang, instead of using simple parenting, well, gagamit pa rin tayo ng parenting dito, pero we are now going to use joints. Okay? So basically, magbibuild tayo or maglalagay tayo ng buto para dito sa robot arm na ito. Okay? So bakit ba kailangang gumawa ng buto or maglagay ng joints? Kasi for assets na merong natural kinematics that resembles a jointed system, mas maganda, meron talaga tayo jointed system literal. Okay? So dyan, pumapasok ngayon yung joint system ng Maya. Actually, hindi na naman sa Maya nagagawa yun. Sa kahit anong 3D animation software, pwede siyang gawin. So iba-iba lang ng way ng pag-apply. Pero dito sa Maya, I'm going to show you how to do it properly. And also, aside from creating the joint hierarchy, gagawa ulit tayo ng controllers. Tapos this time, these controllers will basically move the joint itself. Kasi kung matatandaan nyo, sa previous activity natin, yung controllers natin, it controls the mesh itself, right? So dito naman, yung joint yung kokontrolin ng mga curve controllers. Tapos yung joint, sila yung kokontrol sa mesh. So basically, tatlong levels yung hierarchy natin. We have the mesh, we have the joint, tapos yung magkocontrol sa lahat will be the controllers. Get the idea? Okay. Okay, so as you can see here, each part of this robot arm is properly named. So isa-isahin natin. So I want you guys to go to right view. So punta kayo sa right view. So usually when I do the rigging na gumagamit ng joints, nag-set up ako ng joints in orthographic view. Bakit sa orthographic? Kasi pag orthographic, alam natin na sa gitna tayo nagsisimula. So there's no need for you to align it at the very center of the mesh. Kasi alam natin na sa gitna siya mapupunta. Okay? Of course, taking into consideration that your mesh is in the very middle of the axis. Okay? Kaya always make it a habit pag gagawa kayo ng rig nyo, yung mesh nyo should be at the center of the axis. Kailangan nasa origin siya. Maliwanag ba? Okay. Next. Teka. So I want you guys to go to a rigging menu set. So leftmost corner, this one, set it to rigging. So once maset nyo na sa rigging menu set, hanapin nyo lang dyan yung skeleton. Tapos nandiyan yung option to create joints. Makita ba? Yes. Okay. So gawa tayo, skeleton, create joints. Okay, so malalaman nyo na sa create joints na kayo kung yung cursor nyo naging crosshair. Okay, so crosshair na siya. So one button na ipapaturn ko sa inyo which is very useful kapag naglalagay tayo ng joints is the X-ray joints. This one. So ang ginagawa ng X-ray joints, kahit nasa loob ng mesh yung joint natin, kita pa rin natin siya. Okay? So I want you to turn this on. Tapos saka tayo maglagay ng mga joints. So we always start first from the very base. Okay? So I'm going to put joint here sa gitna. Sa gitna ng platform, maglagay tayo ng isang joint dyan. So that will be our base. Next, from there, another joint for this lower part of the arm. There you go. So automatic magko-connect yan. Yes, click nyo lang. Next, after the base ng teka, i-x-ray ko para makita nyo. Yan, so after the base ng arm, doon tayo sa first joint. Make sure to put it at the center. By the way, para makita nyo yung topology, I turned on wireframe. This one. May, may button dyan to turn on wireframe on shaded. Okay. Next, from first joint, punta tayo sa second joint. Again, dun sa gitna. Then here. Okay, again, ulitin ko. So from the base or from the foundation of the robot arm, naglagay tayo ng joint. Then sa base ng arm mismo. Then sa mga joints na. 1, 2, 3. Nakuha ba? Okay, next. Maglalagay ako ng isa pang joint somewhere here sa base ng hand. That way we can turn it mamaya. Pwede natin siyang paikutin and pwede natin makontrol. So put one here. Tapos another joint for the first sa first part ng clamp. 1, 2. Tapos just press enter to finish the hierarchy. Ulitin ko. Okay, so after nyo magawa yung joint for the base of the hand, maglagay tayo ng isang joint for the first clamp. So 1. Tapos hanggang dulo. Lagay tayo sa dulo. 2. Then just simply press enter. Nagawa ba? Okay, so para naman sa ilalim, i-select nyo muna yung base. Tapos saka kayo mag-create ng joint. Pag hindi gumana, pwede nyo gawin nyo muna yung joint. So from here to here, press enter. Tapos saka mag-parent na lang tayo. Child, shift select the parent, P. Ulitin ko. Okay. So for the lower part of the clamp, this one. Kasi hindi siya nagawa na natin yung primary hierarchy, kailangan natin siyang i-connect dun sa base ng hand, right? Tama ba? Okay, so gawa muna tayo ng joint. So from the joint, 1, tapos sa dulo, 2, then simply press enter. Yes?
Paano palitan yung size po ng joint? Kasi malaki po yung circle na.
Okay, so para malitan nyo yung joint, there are 2 options. First one, sa create joints, click nyo lang yung options menu. Tapos nandyan yung radius. Yan, nakalagay dyan radius. Or, another option, you can select the joint. Yan, select yung joint. Tapos dito sa channel box, meron dyang radius. Pwede nyo siyang liitan. Nakuha? Okay. Okay, so going back here, so as you can see, dun sa palitan natin ng kulay. Ano ang mas kita? So, okay, so as you can see here, itong ginawa kong bagong joint for the lower clamp, hindi pa siya connected, right? So for us to be able to connect it, simple parenting lang. So select the child, shift select the parent, press P. So ito magiging itsura ng joint hierarchy natin. Next. So ngayong meron na tayong mga joints. There are actually 2 ways on how to use these joints. Listen muna. Dalawa yung ways para maapektuhan natin yung geometry. The first one is by simple parenting. So pwede nating i-parent yan, itong mga geometry na yun, dun sa joints mismo para sumasabay sila. Another option naman is to do the so-called skinning. So si skinning ginagawa lang natin kapag kailangan mag-curve or kailangan mag-deform yung geometry. For example, sa organic characters or sa human, 'di ba? When you bend or you move your arm, 'di ba? Nade-deform yung skin. So if that's the case, kailangan mag-skinning kasi may deformation na nangyayari. Pero kung wala naman, we can do simple parenting. Okay? Sige, parent tayo. Okay, isa-isahin natin. Okay, so first up, I'm going to parent this base dun sa pinaka-base natin. Sa pinaka-root, this one. Child, parent, P. P as in parent. Ayan siya. Yes, P as in parent. Select the child, shift select the parent, then press P. Gumana ba?
Ulit, sir. Sorry.
Ulitin natin. Select ko muna yung child. So when doing parenting, the first thing to select is the child. So yung child natin is yung base. I'm going to shift select the first joint or the root joint kasi siya yung magiging parent. Press P. Okay? Did it work? Okay, good question. So para malaman nyo kung na-attach, first, pwede nyo i-select yung joint mismo. Kapag na-select pati yung mesh, naka-attach na yan. Another option, you can look at your outliner. Ayan siya. As you can see, si joint 1, nakakaskid na sa kanya si base. Nakasunod ba? Okay, next. So after na root joint, let's go now with the base, this one. Itong base ng arm na ito, I want it to control yung base ng arm mismo. So that's 1 and 2. Itong dalawa. Nakuha ba? So 1, 2. So select natin din silang dalawa, then shift select the joint, press P. Okay, ulitin ko. Ulitin natin. So for this base ng arm, ang gusto kong ma-control niya is yung base ng arm. So this one is the first geometry. Then ito ang platform na ito. So select natin dalawa. Shift select the joint, then press P. Ay, sorry. Yan. So pag select ko itong joint na to, dapat selected yung base ng arm saka yung platform niya. Nagawa ba? Okay. Akyat tayo. Let's go now with the first part of the arm. So for this one, I want it to control, of course, the arm itself and itong joint na ito. Okay? So select natin pareho. 1, 2, shift select the bone. Tapos just press P. So whenever I try to move the joint itself, kasama yung geometry. Okay, next. So sa next joint, same idea lang din naman. So the arm and the joint should be controlled by this bone right here. Okay? Yung arm muna, joint, saka yung bone. Then press P. Ano yan? Okay, so if you try to move this joint, ganito dapat na mangyayari. Okay, isa-isahin natin. So for example, this one, pag minove ko, ito yung itsura niya. Next, itong next joint, it will be able to move this. The next, this one, this. Nakuha ba? Okay, next, ito naman sa may sa ano niya, sa wrist niya. Again, we need to parent itong joint na ito saka yung part na to ng base ng hand. 1, 2, 3, parent. So if I try to move it, ito magiging itsura niya. You get the idea? Paulit-ulit lang naman, di ba? So, kailangan lang natin malaman kung anong mga geometries yung kailangan nilang makontrol. Okay, next. So, for this one right here, yung sa base ng hand, ang kukontrolin lang niya is the base of the hand or the base of the clamp. So, child, parent, P. Ayan siya. Yes?
Sir, din po ba yung naging pinaka-circle?
Hindi. Ang gusto kasi natin yung circle na yan, umiikot din siya habang umiikot yung clamp. So dapat itong joint na to, i-parent natin dito sa bone na ito. Okay, last but not the least, for the clamp, select natin yung clamp saka yung joint niya, this one. Tapos, i-parent natin dun sa bone. Same idea para sa ilalim. P. There you go. So if I try to move it, magagalaw natin ng clamp. Mumove din natin yung clamp as a whole. The whole hand can move. As you can see, gumagalaw pati yung joint niya. Then here. Okay, so ang mangyayari dito, when I try to move the root joint, when I see the root joint that the first joint na nilagay natin, so yung root joint na yan, pag sinelect ko yan, masaselect niya yung buo, I will be able to move the entire thing. Okay, next. Listen muna ako muna. Okay, next mag-a-apply na tayo, maglalagay na tayo ng mga controllers. So, bakit natin kailangan maglagay ng controllers kung pwede naman natin i-move directly yung joints? If you're going to recall, one of the methods or one of the steps kapag naglalagay tayo ng controllers is to freeze transform. Anong ginagawa ng freeze transformation? Okay, nire-reset yung transformation into their default zeros and 1. So kapag ginawa natin yon sa joint, mawawala siya dun sa position na nilagay natin. So definitely hindi natin siya pwedeng freeze transform. So to solve that, gagawa tayo ng controllers. So we are not going to animate the joint directly, but instead gagawa tayo ng controllers to make them move. Okay, so I want you guys to go to the curves tab. Tapos gawa lang tayo ng simple na nerve circle. Ayun siya. Lakayin lang natin. Okay, so usually ang practice, by default, I mean, pinaka-basic na practice pag gumagawa tayo, nag-attach tayo ng controller sa joint, we want it to snap dun sa pinakagitna ng joint na yon. So, paano ba mag-snap? You can hold V on your keyboard, tapos use your middle mouse button to snap it. Again, hold V as in victory, use your middle mouse button, snap it sa middle ng joint mismo. So basically yung pivot niya, nasa pinakagitna, pareho siya ng pivot ng joint. Nagawa ba? Okay, let's do another one. Dito naman tayo sa base ng hand, ay ng arm. So gawa kayo panibagong controller. Same idea, I want you to snap it. Hold V, middle mouse, snap. So you can resize it, guys, by the way. So mamaya turuan ko kayong paano ma-reshape tong ano to. Itong mga controllers na to. And to change color if you want. Ayan. Next, gawa pa tayong isa. Bali per joint, guys, lalagyan natin ng controller. Guys, double check kung na-snap Talagang tignan yung nung malapitan. Kung snap siya sa pinakagitna. Ayan siya. So after creating the joints, the controllers, it will look like something like this. Ayan siya, may tigi-isa. Dun sa clamp, medyo niresize ko lang ng konti. In-scale ko lang para maiba and para mas madali siyang ma-select and para hindi siya nag-overlap. Ayan siya. Okay. So common question, paano mag resize or reshape ng curves. Simple lang. First off, select nyo yung curve, tapos hold right click, choose control vertex. Again, select nyo yung curve, hold right click, choose control vertex. So lalabas din yung vertices ng curve, pwede nyo na siyang ma-resize or ma-reshape.
Hindi, I mean, yung ganyan po. Yung ganyan perspective.
Yes. Pwede mo i-clone. Easiest way to clone, nasa object mode kaya just hold shift. Magko-clone yan.
Sir, kailangan po ba i-shape yung mismo controller?
Hindi naman required. Basta i-resize nyo lang siya na tama lang dun sa part na kinokontrol niya. And make sure na yung controllers nyo hindi nag-overlap. For example, yung clamp. In-scale ko siya along y-axis para hindi siya mag-overlap dun sa ilalim. Again guys, ulitin ko reshaping the controllers is optional, pero i-resize nyo siya in such a way na tama lang siya dun sa asset na kinokontrol niya and dapat hindi siya nag-overlap with other controllers. Okay? Again, reshaping is optional. Pero resizing, kailangan nyong i-adjust based on the asset you're controlling and dun sa placement ng controllers. So once you're done with the controllers, what to do next? Any suggestions? Parent Tabagad? What do we do? Freeze transformation, that's correct. So freeze transform and delete history. Okay? So para hindi kayo mahirapan mag-select ng mga controllers from your viewport, you can select them sa loob ng outliner. I-select nyo, freeze transform history. Kung wala kayong sariling shelf, you can find freeze transform under modify, tapos freeze transformations. Tapos yung delete history naman can be found under edit, delete by type history. Nakasunod ba? Okay. So from here, make sure to rename all your controllers. Again, make sure to rename all your controllers. So regarding the naming, ito yung suggestion ko. So first, make sure na nakalagay dyan kung ano yung asset or ano yung rig na nirig nyo. Tapos kung ano yung part na yon, tapos kung ano siya, controller or what. So nilagay ko, for the base, that's the ARM_base control. Next one, that's the platform. So that's ARM_platform control. Tapos ito, lower joint control. This one is mid joint, this is upper joint, this is wrist. Ito naman, one here sa taas is the upper clamp, sa baba is the lower clamp. So yun siya. So you can copy this naming convention or you can create your own. If you're going to create your own naming convention, walang problema for as long as it is descriptive. Ang goal natin, pag tinignan ko yung rig nyo, alam ko kung anong kinokontrol niya. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to apply now connection between the controller and the joint. Okay? So dito hindi tayo gagamit ng parenting. But instead, we are going to use the so-called constraints. Okay, i-constrain natin siya para hindi mabago yung hierarchy dito. Okay, so para mas magdaling mag-select ng mga joints dito and the controllers, I'm going to disable first the mesh. So para ma-disable yung mesh, para hindi nyo makita, you can go to show, turn off polygons. So shortcut niya is Alt-2. So press Alt-2 para mawala yung mesh. Focus na muna tayo sa joints and controllers. Maliwanag ba? Nagawa? So para mapalabas yung ulit yung polygon, Alt-2 lang kayo. Ganun kasimple. Okay, so paano ba maglagay ng constraint dito? So the constraint again can be found sa sa rigging menu set. Just look for constraint. This one. So we have several kinds of constraint. Ito yung mga pinaka basic. The first one, we have the parent, then point, orient, scale, aim, saka pole vector. So isa-isahin natin. Magsimula tayo sa point constraint. Si point constraint, it allows us to control transformation. Translation. So, position lang siya, X, Y, Z. So, purely position. No rotation, no scaling. Okay? Next, we have here orient. Kapag orient constraint lang, ang makakontrol lang natin is the rotation. Walang translation, walang scaling. Okay? Next, scale. As the name suggests, scale lang kinokontrol niya. Ito namang parent, ang ginagawa niya, kinokontrol niya, it controls both the translation and rotation. Itong aim, as the name suggests, it allows us to aim. So for example, gagawa tayo ng controller para sa mata. So kapag ginalaw ko yung mata, dun lagi titingin. Pag ginalaw ko yung controller, dun lagi nakafocus yung mata. Pole vector, ito naman usually ginagamit for IK handles. Later on, i-explain ko, gagamitin natin to, pero not now. Okay, so when adding constraint, you have to understand how the body would move. Ano bang kailangan niyang movement? Tapos from there, pipili kayo kung alin dyan yung kailangan nating ilagay. So for example, let's say itong controller na to. Kailangan ko ba siyang itaas baba? Diba? So basically, it's just a pure rotation. Right? So kung rotation lang, we just need to put an orient constraint. Okay, so paano maglagay ng constraint? So sa paglalagay ng constraint, baliktad siya sa parenting. So kung sa parenting, we select first the child, tapos shift select the parent. Dito naman, isa-select muna natin ng parent, shift select the child. Okay? Doon muna tayo simple. Dito tayo. Dito sa clamp. So the parent or the master will always be the controller. Tapos the slave or the child will be the joint. Okay? Sige, gawin natin. Select yung controller, shift select the joint. Tapos from your constraint, go to orient options. Okay? Lagi mag-orient options, guys. Bakit kailangan? Kasi we need to make sure that the maintain offset is turned on. Kapag hindi naka-maintain offset yan, tapos nag-constrain kayo, minsan gumagalaw or nagbabago ng offset. So make sure naka-turn on si maintain offset niyan. So click add and that's it. So let's try. I'm going to try to rotate it. As you can see, nagagalaw ko yung joint. Subukan kong i-transform or translate W, hindi ko magagalaw. Di ba? So pag nagalaw yan, ibig sabihin, ibang constraint na gamit niya.
Hindi yung ano pala na yung buong joint pala na
Nakasunod ba? Okay, so hanap naman tayo ng part dito na gusto nating malagyan ng parent constraint. Ano ulit kinokontrol ng parent constraint? Okay, both translation and rotation, right? So, itong part na to sa may wrist, gusto kong may capability to move it up and down, tapos gusto ko rin siyang ma-rotate. So, definitely lalagyan ko siya ng parent constraint. So, anong una ko i-select? Alin dyan? The controller. Then, ano yung child? The joint. Tapos, parent what? Ano gagawin? Options. Then, anong kailangan kong i-click? Maintain offset. That is correct. That's it. There you go. So dito rotation lang orient. Okay, so para mas mapabilis kayo, so kung sige titignan nyo dito, puro orient ang ilalagay ko kasi simple rotation lang naman yan. I'm going to use the shortcut G. So when you press G, ang gagawin niya, redo last action. Ang last action natin is to apply orient constraint, right? So when I press G, ganun gagawin niya. So select, shift select, press G. Naka-orient yan. Next. Again, when you press G, that's a redo last action. Maintain offset, kailangan mo i-click yung options. May box yan sa gilid. Constraint. Okay, so puro rotation lang sila usually. Okay, lastly, yung sa pinaka-base, yung sa arm base natin, it should be a parent constraint. There you go.
Parang dapat make sure na yung
Sa pinaka-base is sa parent constraint.
make sure tamang rate na dapat hindi gumagalaw. Dapat
Okay, listen, para hindi malito, ang parent constraint lang natin will be the base and the rest. The rest would be orient constraint.
pwede i-cancel sir yung orient.
Okay, so para maka-cancel, ito lang gagawin nyo. Select nyo. Tapos, go to constraint. Meron dyang remove target. Nasaan yan? Ayan, remove target. Baka tatanggal yung constraint yan. Okay, so if I am going to test it out, look what will happen. Ito nangyayari sa inyo? Okay. Normal yan. Kasi, ang connection na in-establish natin right now is only from the controller and the joint. So, itong mga joint na to, kung titignan nyo sa outliner, wala pa silang connection sa isa't isa. Right? So, how do we fix it? Any suggestion? Parent, that is correct. So we are going to parent each one so that it will move correctly. So usually for a limb like this, ang parenting natin from the outside papasok. What do you mean by that? So for example, this one, child, parent, P, child, parent, P. Para pag ginalaw ko, sabay silang gagalaw. Next, from here, i-parent natin sa back, P, P. Let's move. This one will move as well. Next, parent, parent, and parent. Okay, so if I'm going to move it now, gagalaw ng maayos yan.
Hanggang base po, sir.
Hanggang base, yes. Okay, so everything here is moving properly. So nagro-rotate siya. This one is rotating as well. This one nagro-rotate, nagtatranslate. Ang problema natin dito would be scale. So you have to make sure when creating a main controller or a base controller, kailangan we always have the ability to scale. Kasi pag walang ability to scale yan, mahirap siyang i-layout sa isang background or mahirap gumawa ng sizing comparison with other elements. So kailangan meron tayong ability to scale. So to do that, we are going to use the scale constraint. Kaso hindi siya basta-basta i-constrain lang dun sa root joint kasi ang scale lang dyan is the joint itself, hindi masasama yung iba. So instead of doing that, ang gagawin natin, I am going to group the root joint. This one. So hanapin niyo yung root joint nyo, make sure na naka-close siya. Nakita ba? Tapos I want you to press Ctrl G. When you press Ctrl G, magiging group siya. Yung group na yan, siya yung i-constrain natin with scale. Maliwanag ba? So that way, pag nag-scale tayo, uniform yung scaling. Let's call this root group. There you go. Okay. So dapat ang nakikita nyo lang ngayon sa outliner nyo is the hierarchy of your controller and the root group. Do you have the same output? Okay. Next. Pag may root group na, we can now start constraining. Select natin yung base controller, tapos shift select the root group. From there, maglagay tayo ng parent constraint, add, then scale constraint. Again, make sure naka-maintain offset.
Sir, mas lang po paano po yung root group?
Just press Ctrl G.
Saan yun?
Hanapin nyo yung ito, this one.
Joint.
Joint. Make sure naka-close siya.
Tapos
Ctrl
control.
G. Magiging root group. Magiging group yan. I-rename nyo as root group. Okay, let's test kung gumagana. So, meron tayong translation, meron tayong rotation, meron tayong uniform scaling. Again guys, laging tatandaan, when creating a rig, there should always be an option to rescale the character uniformly. Kapag hindi scalable yan, mahirap i-layout yan sa ibang elements. Okay, so habang gumagawa yung iba, actually meron pa tayo isang ilalagay dito. So if you're going to recall dun sa ball, I showed you how to use set-driven key, right? So dito pwede natin gawin yung set-driven key so that we can open and close the clamp. So for example, dito, gagawa ako ng attribute from the channel box to open and close this clamp. So mamaya papakita ko kung paano. So habang gumagawa yung iba, for the meantime, papakita ko sa inyo kung paano baguhin yung kulay ng mga controllers na ito. You can do that under the attribute editor. Sa pinakaunang tab, look for display, then drawing overrides. Again, just select the curve that you want. Sa first tab niya, hanapin niyo yung display. Then from there, look for drawing overrides. So just enable it, tapos you will be able to change the color. Yun nga lang, limited lang yung number of colors natin. So kayo na bahala. So pinakahuli, maglalagay tayo ng open and close clamp functionality dito sa rig natin para hindi na natin siya kailangang i-open manually. Okay? So we can do that by using set-driven key. So nagawa na natin dating set-driven key sa ball rig natin. Tama ba? Okay. Nagawa niyo ba yan? Okay, good. So we are going to use the same functionality here. But this time, I'm going to teach you how to create your own attributes inside the channel box. So itong mga attributes dito, dadagdagan natin ng custom attributes natin. So for example, ito yung wrist. Magdadagdag tayo ng attribute dito, let's say open and close clamp. Something like that. Okay. So we are going to put that functionality sa wrist controller. So select your wrist controller. Tapos go to your channel box. Hanapin yung edit. Then click add attribute. Nakita ba? Edit, add attribute. Ito na siya.
Ano yung nakaselect, sir, yung wrist?
Wrist controller, yes. Okay, so pag nag-add attribute kayo, lalabas dyan yung window to add attribute. So let's call this clamp control. So make sure this is keyable para pwede natin siyang i-animate later on. Okay? Keyable dapat. Next one, data type. For the data type, gagamit tayo ng float. Bakit float? Kasi gusto natin, hindi lang siya puro whole number. Pwede siya mag-interpolate ng with decimal points. So kaya float in data type na gagamitin natin. You can also put minimum and maximum value if you want. So sige, maglagay tayo. Let's say 2 ay negative 2 tapos 2. Okay, once done, just click OK and makikita nyo na siya dun sa channel box. Do you see it? Okay, good. Okay, so from here, gagamit na tayo ng set-driven key. So set-driven key can be found, teka. Ganito na lang, para hindi kayo malito. Select nyo muna isang clamp, itong upper clamp na ito. This one. So select the controller, not the mesh, not the joint, the controller. Select it, tapos i-rotate natin para makita kung anong attribute yung kailangan nating set-driven key. So as you can see, it's rotate X, right? So siya ngayon set-driven key natin. So select on it, right click, tapos ano yun? Wala na. Anyway, sige. So wala na ata yung set-driven key na diretso. Sige, mag-open tayo ng set-driven key window. So go to animation menu set. Look for key menu, set-driven key. Again, go to animation menu set. Hanapin niyo yung key, set driven key, set. Do you see it? Okay. So pag ginawa niyo yun, lalabas siya ng window. So from here, we're going to manually load the driver and the driven. So yung driver natin is the wrist controller, right? Okay, load natin na siya as driver. There you go. Then next, yung driven, isa-isayin muna natin. Let's go first with the upper clamp. Load driven. Nagawa ba? Okay, so para malaman na tama kayo, dito sa set driven key, dito sa upper portion, sa driver portion, dapat nakaload dyan si armrest control. Sa baba naman, sa driven, dapat nakaload dyan si upper clamp control. You get it? Okay. So let's establish the connection. Ang i-connect natin is the clamp control from the driver. This one, yung ginawa nating attribute kanina. Kaya natin siya i-connect? Rotate X, that's correct. So para magkaroon ng connection, what do we do? Key, that's correct. So basically, meron na tayong default position. Kapag naka-0 siya, ito yung default position niya. So next, we set the upper bound and the lower bound, right? Okay. So unahin natin itong clamp. So let's say, gawin natin around 50. Yan. So pag naka 50 siya, gusto ko yung clamp control ko naka maximum, which is 2, right? Yan. So ito natin. Tapos this one 50. Then we key. So check natin. So we should be able to open and close now the clamp control. Did it work? Okay, lower boundary naman. Pag sa lower boundary, gusto ko lang siyang mag-close until around here. So, yung clamp control natin will be -2. Tapos this one, ibababa ko lang to let's say around -10. From there, we key. Okay, let's try it out. There you go. By the way, para ma-scroll nyo yung values dito sa channel box, click nyo lang yung attribute, tapos by using your middle mouse button, pwede kayo mag-drag left and right. Did it work? Okay. So you just have to repeat the process para sa lower clamp. It's just the same thing. Okay, so ano magiging goal? So look at the screen. So if I select the wrist control, subukan kong kontrolin itong clamp control na to. Middle mouse button, ma-open and close ko siya.